Hello lovely people. Okay, so for today's video we're gonna do a little bit of a weird merger of like a Q3, but we're adding October onto it review of my tarot from my year ahead spread. So let's just jump into it. For those who don't know, I'm Sam, Shadow Harvest, a video every day in the month of October for the Utobas, and this is this video. So for the month of July, let's review the accuracy, shall we? July was the 7 of Coins reversed. That was interesting. So in my notes here that I have was very much what was called out to me when I looked up the meaning of the card and like really sat there and meditated was the scattered of thoughts. Probably a need to make a decision, specifically when it comes to anything to do with earth and where I want to put my focus with work and practical things. And that is very much true in the sense of, I think my biggest goals ever since I got my new job and gotten a substantial pay raise with that was deciding like where to put my focus of money. Like do I focus more on debt repayments, on saving, on, you know, like, and every time I kind of like diverge towards one side of that for like 1 month, I immediately want to like backtrack and then do something else. And then just that constant teeter-tottering doesn't really end up serving me. Also too, I think with the 7 of Coins reversed, there is a level 2 of focusing when it comes to my artistic projects, because so often I am all over the place because I have so many ideas and things I want to do. Filming videos for this channel, working on my webcomic, poetry collections, different sketches and artistic things. There's just so many different facets of my creativity, and I do feel pulled often in many different directions, and even enjoy at times to hop between them a bit. But then I look back on my progress and feel very much like I didn't make any progress, and I think that held very true. Even though I had written down here at the start of the month is to make a decision and to fucking focus on those things, I don't feel like I accomplished that. There was still a bunch more jumping around and just I think too, when I was like looking back at this a few months ago, there was also an idea of like making a decision of where to put my efforts for any sort of political movement or feeling, knowing what direction I wanted to head in for more practical day-to-day work, especially within my local area. And I think I have at least narrowed in more on that, but it still does feel a little more scatterbrained overall, so I would say that's very accurate for that month. For August, we then have the 2 of Wands, and I do believe that, at least financially and stability wise, the scatterbrainedness from July carried over nicely into August, where I felt like I had a good direction. I was very much into kind of taking on the aspects of a dragon when it comes to my finances and things of this nature, and by that I mean hoard. I have literally the sentence written on my thing here: hoard like a dragon. This is my pile of gold, mine. Try my best to cut back on spending wherever I can to attempt to inflation and all that. But also too, I think continue to hoard a dragon, that phrase in being the direction of the 2 of Wands of my energy really became because I realized I did have all these different things I wanted to focus and put my time on, and I couldn't necessarily pick one for sure that was my top thing that I really wanted to like narrow in. And therefore I was like, well, if I do that, then maybe if I hoard more of my time, get super picky about it, really cut off things that aren't serving me, that are drains, that I honestly don't find any joy in, or is very much put upon me by someone else that I do not need to do. Cutting off those things very harshly, because I felt very empowered to be like, I'm hoarding my time, I am hoarding my creative abilities, I am focused. All of the things have to be entirely what I want to do, and so all the little excess fluffy things that were being put upon me by others, nah, burn that shit away, get rid of it, cut it off. And I do think that was pretty accurate and served me well, although there's still that level of just like, I don't know, like if I look at the 2 of Wands, what is it also with the 2 of Wands is the idea of like starting a journey or like looking forward to a journey. I believe, if I'm remembering correctly, but let's pull it up online real quick. I'm reading off of Viddy Tarot right now on my phone. I don't know if you'll be able to see that. It's all light screened or whatever, but yeah, we know the description. I don't need your stupid little whatevers. Goodbye. Two of Wands takes this spark of inspiration, the Ace of Wands, and turns into a clear action plan. Oh, I mean, I guess I had the action plan overall. I think I had a clear action plan when it came to all my creative pursuits. I kind of all put down, instead of picking one specifically, I kind of decided, all right, I'm like, okay, here's all of them. Here's the action plan for all of them. I let my Gemini Chaos mode have full control over that. So like, I made a plan for this channel for YouTuber. I made a plan for my webcomic. I made all of these things and I laid them all out, and there was a schedule involved. I started like working out more. There's just a lot of things where I sat down in the month of August and we got some seriousness and we struck forward. So I think that was accurate to that point, but I do think in a lot of ways I do still feel very scattered. It wasn't so much of a commitment to a decision of a path, it was many paths, and I kind of feel like I'm like pushing forward to all of them while understanding that at some point I might have to like pick one and something's gonna fall off. So definitely there's a little bit of like spinning everything there. And then when we get to the month of September, la 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 la. So now we have the Ace of Wands reversed, and this is where, like I said, I had that divergence in that came up then. The lack of inspiration, that spark, that like going through, it was very much I felt it kind of all fall out of me because I was very much trying to do too many things at once. I could not focus for the life of me on just one, and that burnout hit pretty quickly. But I think having the plans on all of those then allowed me to cut back even further on things that I was maybe putting too much energy into. I did kind of isolate a lot more in the month of September, and part of that was due to the fact that actually a lot of my really close friends ended up traveling in the month of September, so there actually wasn't that much in me to do socially, at least. Still like went on a few dates here or there, but then I ended up cutting that off and like, you know, just kind of like entirely stopped dating for a while as well, because I felt like that was even more of a drain. So I did kind of like isolate a lot more in the month of September, but I think that helped then because I realized the one place I still did have a spark of inspiration, knew really wanted to go, was one, starting to take care of my body in a more energetic sense, eating better foods, getting back into the cooking again because fall, so happy about that, and like getting back into a workout routine. So it was like really focused on that, which then gave me more energy, and where I wanted to put that energy was creativity. And for me, that is much more of an isolated thing in general. Like all the things I love to do, making a video, comics, as I've said before, these are all things you could very much, it's just alone. Like having other people there, honestly, if anything, is sometimes just distracting and you end up not getting as much done. And so I think that was actually very helpful for, even though I kind of like lost that as much of it, like it definitely like fell off because I felt the burnout, I think mitigated enough of it that it didn't become a full like, oh my god, nothing got done in the months of September, because I was able to then recognize it, change course, and refocus to where I actually wanted that to go. And then for the month of October, which we are currently in, so we will see how accurate this ends up being entirely. And it's interesting because I haven't quite looked into what is the first like resonatory thing for the Six of Coins reversed, which is my card for this month. And that's what I like to do, is like in descriptions of cards, there's always like there's multiple meanings, in the sense that like certain words can like really jump out to you within a certain thing. If you feel called to that word or that direct meaning of a card, I think that's always very interesting. La 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 la. Six of Pentacles. Yes, yes, yes. I don't care. I want reversed meaning, please. So lack of generosity, abuse of power, gifts of string attached, subservience, inequity, lack of charity, scams, fake charity, extortion, unemployment, lack of investment, underpaid, undervalued, bad debts, poor financial decisions, greed, meanness, gullibility, kiss ass. That is a lot from the tarotguide.com. Like, wow, they kind of hit you over the head with that one, huh? So a lack of generosity basically all over, which I also heard too is a little bit of like giving too much, which I can definitely feel like with making all these videos, or it definitely feels a little bit of, now that my friends have all come back from traveling, I can feel that bit of being spread too thin. And also there is a huge bit of whiplash for me because of the fact that it was so isolatory in September, and then suddenly it's like, oh, now I'm not isolating myself. Instead it's like, oh, now all my friends are back from their various adventures, and on top of that I am doing all this creative stuff, putting this stuff out there, interacting with people with more online, at work, in general. It just feels like a much more people-oriented month. And so I can kind of, again, feeling my stores depleting again. So I guess for me, like, I think there's part of what goes with Six of Coins as well, is that concept of just giving too much. Like, the lack of charity is not necessarily out of greed, but is because, well, I overspent it before. And so I do think, I feel like I'm overspending my energy. I'm also kind of overspending my finances a wee bit this month, but not too much. There's a balance still that's happening, but I can feel, as with every month in October, my two big spending months are always my birth month and the month of October. Every year I kind of plan for it now, where I'm like, you know, you're gonna want to go crazy around your birthday, and you know you're gonna want to go crazy around the month of October. Everything else we're better at saving, and I can feel myself doing that. But I am catching myself, because this is very much mid October, we're hitting that month there, and it's like I feel myself reining it all back in. Like, we're like, nope, not quite, let's not go entirely overboard, let's keep it in pacing, especially with inflation, the economy, what have you, doing what it's doing right now. It's a little bit stressful. So anyway, we'll see if that continues to hold. There could be even more coming up. I'll do a fourth quarter review, which will be a little bit of the tail end of October, along with November, December. But I think this year I did the tarot reading of my year ahead from January over, and so when usually I do it on Samhain, I then do a reading for myself for the witch's year, and I think I'm going back to that this year. So I will be doing the next reading will actually include, they'll kind of be double cards for November, December. So I think that will be very interesting on that front for the next tarot quarterly review. So anyway, this is Youtober. I'm Sam, and I will see you in tomorrow's video. Bye bye.